Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby, and I'm bringing you an exciting replay here in the T-54. This is the Tier 9 Russian medium tank. I have done reviews of this, so if you're interested in knowing more about the T-54, then definitely think about going and checking out that video. Now, this was the first game that I played in 8.8, and you can see that 2 minutes of the game have already gone before I've even started to enter the battlefield. That's because, as you can see, my ping for some reason is fluctuating at 400. I have no idea what was going on. But yeah, this is my first game of 8.8. And also what was interesting is that couple of minutes that I spent AFK at the start of the game was due to, I think, I was having some mod conflictions, because I didn't realize at that time that you don't use World of Tanks stat or XVM stat to try and get XVM to work anymore. So I had to go out and run the original version, just the regular World of Tanks EXE. But as we can see here, we're playing on the Korean map, Sacred Valley. This is a 47%er, but I did not know that at the time, because literally I didn't have any mods for this battle. I didn't know where the enemies were. I didn't have XVM, so it wasn't telling me where they were last spotted. I didn't know how much damage I was doing. I didn't know anything. No mods at all. So this was a completely blind game. So I just took a large hit from the Ferdinand down below. You saw me earlier trying to fire shots up at the north, but I'm using the T-54 gun that has higher accuracy, lower aim time, but unfortunately only 200mm of penetration, and that's not very high for Tier 9 medium tank. What that means is that really trying to engage targets at this kind of range in the T-54 with the gun that leads on to the new Object 140, you know, the one with the low aim time and the higher accuracy but much lower penetration, means that engaging at this kind of range is quite tricky. Fortunately, we were able to catch a flush surface there on that 110, putting in our second shot of the game. So one thing you guys might be thinking is, wow, this game looks rather unremarkable so far. Like, yeah, okay, I've got 300 to 400 ping, my mods weren't working at all, which meant that I had to crash the game and it took me 2 minutes to delete them and come back into it. And okay, yeah, 47%, I was thinking, oh, well, you know, it doesn't really matter. I was just trying to test out my setup because I was going to be streaming later that day. But I'm doing my fairly standard kind of setup that I would do with a medium tank on Sacred Valley for an encounter. Generally, I would be a little bit more aggressive. I would be likely to be where this E75 is that you see here. That's usually where I would start, but I was unable to start there because of my latency and my crash at the beginning of the game. So now I've got a great opportunity to shoot down on this Tiger too, but wow, I got spotted. That bush really didn't do me much good. I fought back to try to avoid fire. And at the time, I did not have XVM, but okay, yeah, this is not looking like a very good rest of this game. We can see that all their top tier tanks are their better players, and most of our better players were in the tier 8s, with our tier 9s being more averagey kind of players. But I decided to do my medium run that I usually do on Sacred Valley, which, as you can see, is to progress around here and trying to flank up around the enemy. And sometimes when you guys watch me live stream, you'll see that you kind of get caught out doing this run. But you know, it works quite often. More often than not, I'd say. This is a very valid route to try and flank the enemy once the game has sort of progressed a little bit. And we're down 4 tanks at the moment. So I really wanted to try and do something bold. And the T-54 really is a brawler, especially with the gun that I choose to use. With its low aim time, high accuracy, but low penetration, it's very much better to be up close and personal with your opponents, where you can try and hit their weak points and take advantage of them. So, I try and shoot through the front of the Tiger, but wow, he got a nice bounce. I aim at his turret instead, and that one goes in. Now, this is a wonderful location that I discovered for the T-54. As you can see, I've got most of my lower plate covered. And wow, we just torched that Tiger. Wow, that was a nice shot. 550 fire damage from him. So I fire one into the Ferdinand, and then you see me loading a heat round. That's because this Ferdinand's pretty hull down, and I don't want to lose any more health to him. So I try and bounce him. and put a heat round through the lower plate of his tank to secure the kill. And then you see me loading AP rounds again. And I have no idea what this 12T was doing, but hey, you know, that just put 3 tanks in, but my team is still wilting, as you can see. The enemy have still got some rather good players left. Look at them. All these guys have played 17,000, 13,000, 30,000, 28,000 games. Some good players left on the enemy team in top-tier tanks. Let's give it our best shot. So we've got some lovely sniping opportunities here against this M103. Look at this fantastic DPM that Russians get with their 100mm. I will add that this gun that you're seeing me fire here is on a new tier 8 tank, the Object 416 I think it is, off the top of my head. And we were able to do 1,123 damage there to the side of that M103. The side of the M103's armor is notoriously bad, and that was a fantastic result to take out one of their best players in a very dangerous tank. Just before the E75 went down, I was thinking when I was playing this game, okay, I've got to make the kill, got to make the kill, got to make the kill. We can see there the IS-3 has angled his armor, which means it's rather easy for us to penetrate. I load a heat round because I can't afford to bounce, and we secure the kill on him. This game's rather close, as you can see. I kind of wanted to win it, having already done 3,800 damage, but I did not have that knowledge. And there we go, we just lost the Tortoise. And that's it. It's now a 5v1. And when you look at the enemy, we secured the kill there on the T-54 with another heat round, and then we load the AP. The enemy have still got some fairly respectable players left. We finish off the T-44, and I pull back again. I remember the last time I saw the Tortoise was up north, but as you guys know, I did not have XVM, so I was unable to know where their locations were. I was completely blind here. I was worried that I was going to get flanked from up the north, so that's where I started to maneuver. Having taken out that M103 and the T-54, this game is starting to look like it could be a lot more fun. And this Carnarvon is about to make a really big mistake. Thankfully for me, this Carnarvon was one of their weakest players. He got separated from his team, and he paid the price for it. I was very lucky there that that Carnarvon was such a donkey. But, as you can see, the Tortoise and the 110 are still very respectable players. Having played 28 and 30,000 games, they should know how to tank. I've loaded some heat rounds now. I kind of want to win this game. And a Tortoise is something that you definitely don't want to mess around with. So I see the 110 there, he's got 416 health remaining. I fire one into the 110, but it bounces. I blind fire another one into the 110. I don't know if that has gone in quite yet. So what you see me doing here is using these bushes. When you go within 5 meters of the bush, you can see through them, but the enemy can't see you. Fortunately for me, this Tortoise hasn't seen me, and I fire one at the Tortoise's cupola. I know his rate of fire is better than mine, and we can tell that that shot that we put at the 110 did indeed go through. I can't get an effective fire on the 110, but I want to keep chewing up this Tortoise. So I'm firing at his weak points on top of the tank. So right now I'm just trying to control the engagement. That was a bit weak there. I'm trying to push the tempo, and that was a rather weak shot, trying to just slam one through the front of the 110. And I've had enough now. I've figured out, wow, okay. I just chewed up a couple of heat rounds there with non-penetrating shots against the 110. I really want to finish him off, but I've had no luck. So I put one into the Tortoise, and then I start to pull back. So now I'm going to use this Dead Tiger 2 to my advantage. I tried to get the Tortoise to fire, and I was successful. Unfortunately, I can't snipe the Tortoise, and I can't get an effective shot on the 110. I decide that this is not an engagement that I can win. The Tortoise has got excellent gun depression as well as having a very dangerous 120mm, so I decide, you know what? Okay, it's time to pull back. The Tortoise clutch fires one at my turret, fortunately hitting my gun, taking it out. but I have a repair pack. So I remember just how effective the T-54 was when it was able to get sort of hull down. Well, not so much hull down as hiding its lower plate earlier, when you saw me take out that Ferdinand and that Tiger and that AMX-12T. So I'm basically using ridgelines. So right now I think, okay, the 110 just came through the cap circle and he's coming after me. These guys are not stupid. They're going to try to work together to take me out. So I'm going to change my angle. I'm going to try and find a new location where I can get shots in from them, where hopefully they won't be able to find me. So I go back to where this Ferdinand and the AMX-12T died. I'm knocking down a few trees, which might give the enemies my location. As you can see, I'm still lagging really badly here. I've got between 200 and 400 ping. Fortunately for me, the tortoise only just saw me, and I sniped through his cupola even though I didn't have the outline of his tank. And oh, now it's on. Both the enemies are one hits. I can't afford to get shot more than once. I want them to come at me. I'm still outnumbered. I'm trying to force them to make the mistake. But I realize there's only 2 minutes left in the game, so I'm trying to push the tempo a little bit. Now remember, when you're using the bushes like I am, the enemies can't see through the bush, but when you're within 5 meters of the bush, you can see through. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to happen the way I wanted it there, and we got spotted when we poked the front of our tank through. The 110 is likely to be waiting in one of the bushes there. See me aiming at him? The tortoise spotted me. And the 110 fires, thank goodness. I fire a shot of hope at him, but then I go for the tortoise. Now this is it. Big plays. That shows you how bad the tortoise armor is. And now I'm getting pretty excited. I think maybe my adrenaline's starting to go now. So I need to close the distance on this 110. I don't want him to run away from me. I've got enough damage to take a hit as long as he doesn't track me. And that was it. What a result. We picked up 10 kills and we finished the game in a 5v1. I was absolutely thrilled. I was on an adrenaline rush. That was one of the best games I've had in thousands of battles. It was my first Kolobanov's medal in like forever. So let's take a quick look at some post-game stats. So we can see that we were able to get 125,000 credits and a over 5,000 double experience game. We picked up Pool's medal, which was for 10 kills, the Kolobanov's medal, which is where you win a game against 5 enemy tanks, the Steel Wall, and of course the Top Gun, but that's just a lesser Pool's medal really. We were able to do 6,500 damage, really showing what the DPM of the T-54 is capable of. And non-premium, non-double, this was a 1,679 experience game, which is huge. We fired 37, we hit most of those, and of those, 25 penetrated. We took 17 hits, which is a potential damage of 5,200. It really shows you how strong the armor is of the T-54 if you can get in a matchup like this. If you can hide your side armor and your lower plate, and you don't let the enemy shoot down onto your front plate when it's unangled, then really the armor on the T-54 is fantastic. We only spotted 2 enemies, but that was because of the crash at the beginning of the game. We were unable to get the spots off. We damaged 11, but we destroyed 10. And we also did 1,200 spotting damage. And of course, we interrupted the tortoise, so we got 43 base defense points, traveling over 3 kilometers in the game. Now you can see that I did spend a lot on ammunition that game. Usually, I don't have to fire the premium rounds because I'm not left in a 5v1 situation against very respectable players. And if it hadn't been for the event credits, then we would have actually lost money that game. The only real reason why we lost money is because we were having to fire heat rounds, what I would call speculatively. The game was so close that I was firing heat rounds like I wouldn't usually do. I was kind of just firing them and sort of hoping that they would kill the target at long range just because of the very high penetration that they have. Usually when I'm firing these heat rounds, I fire them when I almost know that I'm certain that they're going to go in, such as on the lower plate of an E100, or maybe his side turret, or if you need to penetrate a mouse frontally. This is a big deal because obviously the more shots that you can penetrate, the more credits that you're able to get, and non-penetrating heat rounds will drain your credit balance very quickly. Still, I can't complain. I take a quarter ammunition premium in the T-54, and you saw me basically only use them when it started to become very hairy at the end of the game, or when I was trying to secure the kills. I was absolutely thrilled to get another Kolobanov's medal, and this is the highest tier tank that I've ever got a Kolobanov's medal in. I've had one in the VK3601, one in the T-28, the tier 8 tank destroyer, one in a Valentine, and then this one, which is probably my favorite Kolobanov's medal that I've ever got. Playing through this tank again to grind to the Object 140 is just such a pleasure. This really is a monster tank, and grinding it, I just feel like something good's gonna happen whenever I play it. I really feel that this is an absolute beast of a tank. I can't recommend the T-54 enough. I hope maybe I gave you some insights into the way that I was thinking and how I was able to achieve this result. And if you've enjoyed the video, please consider rating it down below. I'd really appreciate it. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad I got to show you a game that even got my adrenaline going for once in a while. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.